Greetings to all of humanity. It's really a joy, it's a pleasure, it's my honor to be out here, as usual in nature, bringing this message of emancipation to you, whereby I'm pointing you to look inwardly to discover that your real identity is your divinity. And that is why this message, once you put it to work in your life, it would set you free. Because it would teach you that it is your own thoughts that is creating your reality and that you can create your reality consciously. What greater message can one bring to humanity more than to point them to discover their self, to know their self, to embrace their self, to love yourself. My encouragement to you, my brother, my sister, is to love yourself, to embrace yourself, to believe in yourself. I'm not asking you to believe in me. I'm not declaring myself to be the man of God, as some do. I'm saying to you, we are all one. There's only one universal consciousness. I'm saying to you that the answers of life that you're searching for, that they're all within you. I'm saying to you that when you love God, it means that you love yourself. Or to love God is to love yourself. To embrace yourself is to embrace God. So my brother and my sisters, that is why I have to always let you know the basis of my teaching. The basis of my teaching is that the Bible addresses the human mind and must be interpreted psychologically. That the Bible is not literal, neither is it secular history, and that it was written symbolically. And it have no reference to anyone that existed thousands of years ago or to any actual event that took place on earth thousands of years ago. From Genesis 1 to Revelation 22, it's all a great psychological drama. It all have to do with the human psyche. So whether you agree or disagree with me, it still have to do with your psyche. It has to first be mental, it has to first be psychological. So any action at all you take, it has to first be a thought, it has to first be mental, it has to first be psychological. Therefore, I want to speak to you concerning how Abdullah, the black mystic from Ethiopia, how he taught Neville Goddard that the Bible is alchemy, and how we must use the Bible and see the Bible as alchemy and become an alchemist. So Abdullah himself was an alchemist. Now when we look at alchemy, alchemy have to do, when you look at it naturally, because when I speak about alchemy, I'm speaking about spiritual alchemy. So I have to correct myself there, spiritual alchemy. Because when you look at alchemy in the physical and natural sense, it is dealing with where you take base metal and transfer it like to gold. So you take one substance and you transfer it into another substance. Okay, so it all have to do with transformation. So I'm speaking of spiritual alchemy. Okay? And it's all over the Bible when you understand how thoughts work. When you understand that it is actually your thought that is creating your reality, creating your personality, you would realize it's all alchemy. So when it says that the Christ turned water into wine, it's alchemy. Okay? And I would have written a book on it. Because if it was literal, okay, it was secular history, and religious people are claiming that the same Jesus that turned water into wine lives in them, then they're supposed to take literal water and turn it into wine too, because there's a law of reproduction that every seed and every species reproduces after its own kind. Whatever life is in the seed, it must bring forth. So if that life of Jesus, who you believe to be a literal man 2,000 years ago, and you believe the story to be a literal story, if he's in you, you have to do the same thing. You cannot change the laws of the universe. The tide that comes in is the same tide that goes out, and the tide that goes out is the same tide that comes in. It's the law rhythm. You can't change those laws. So my brother and my sisters, alchemy have to do with transformation. It have to do with the transmutation of energy. So we have to learn that everything is energy, vibration, and frequency, and that our thoughts, it's a vibrational frequency, and that energy cannot be created or destroyed, but it can be transformed. And so when you learn that, by putting it to practice in your life, you will realize that everything you see is a transmutation of energy. So this phone, this cell phone is here because of alchemy, because one believes in himself and he practices alchemy, and he lives the life of an alchemist, and he is providing value for all of humanity. Now, there are people who are religious and they call these things demonic and talk about the occult, and occult just means that which is hidden. Now, the greatest thing that is hidden from humanity is the power of themselves, the power of their mind, the power to create is hidden from them, hidden from most people. So the 1% that own the world's wealth, all along they would have known these truths, and many would have learned to put these truths in their life from a very, very young age. And so some of us are now coming in to this kind of truth, but it's never too late. So my brother and my sisters, here was Neville being a dancer in the time of the Great Depression, 1929 to 1939. But this was the year 1933. And Neville was studying with Abdullah for over 5 years. But he had this burning desire to go back to Barbados to be with his family for a while. And he went to Abdullah and told Abdullah about this burning desire that he had within himself to visit his family in Barbados. And Abdullah told him, you have already gone. You've gone to Barbados. And he couldn't understand it. But Abdullah was teaching Neville how to become an alchemist. He was teaching him alchemy. He was teaching him transmutation of energy and how he can transmute his energy. My brother and my sisters, as I speak to you, I'm seeing it so clearly that everything is transmutation of energy. And everything that you see, it comes from earth, wind, water, and fire, and the spirit, which is your thought. It has to first be an idea. It has to first be imagined. And you have to be the one who's supposed to put action and transmute it, that it would be in this realm, that you can contact it by the 5 senses. And that's why the Bible says that you call those things that be not as though they were. That's why it also says that faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. Your imagination is not seen until the manifestation. Because when I have a thought, you can't see it, you can't taste it, you can't touch it, you can't smell it. And that is why in Jeremiah 18, I think, it speaks about the potter. The potter is speaking of your imagination, where you create your image. And it says that if you don't like the piece of pottery, or if you don't like that which you create, you can change it. You can change your thoughts, you can change your mind. You can change your situation. If you don't like it, you can change it. You are the potter. And the material that you're working with is the invisible substance. You have to take that invisible substance and you have to form that image in your mind of that what you want to be and to do and to have. And all of that is alchemy. And when you start to work in the art of alchemy, by understanding that you can create your reality consciously and you're working with the invisible substance, because you have an inner power that can allow you to achieve your every desire. You'll be moving up and up and up and up and up the ladder. Up Jacob's ladder. Because Jacob's ladder is speaking about the 33 bones of the vertebra. And that is why when you learn the law, as Abdullah taught Neville, the law, Neville went even further and had the experience of the promise, of which I would have had that same experience. So yes, my brother, my sisters, you are to practice alchemy. When it says that the Christ take 2 fishes and 5 loaves and break it and multiply it in so much that he could have fed 5,000 one time, and another time he could have fed 7,000. It's all parabolic. It's all symbolic. It's all about you. You have a conscious mind and a subconscious mind. You have 5 senses that you use in the physical. And when you come into the 6th sense, which is the higher self, you can operate those other 5 senses. So you can see something in imagination. You can touch something in imagination. You can taste something in imagination. You can smell something in imagination. That is why you can take money and look at it, study it. You can even smell it, feel the feel of the money. And you can imagine it in your imagination and see it vividly if you study it long enough. And you can count money in your imagination. Whether is it $1,000, $20,000, $30,000, how much you want to count. You do it over and over and over and over. You can do it in the morning, you can do it in the afternoon, and do it before you go to bed. Because the last awaken concept you have in your mind is what you're going to take over into the 4th dimension as you go to bed, as you fall asleep. So alchemy is taking place in your life all the time. And that is why when you practice alchemy consciously, because you realize that you're supposed to be the alchemist, you realize that at night time you are supposed to be feeding yourself on the right things, not listening to the news, not looking for the latest update and the coronavirus before you go to bed, not listening to a preacher bringing doubt and fear upon you and limitation and making you feel judgment and condemnation. Because when many people go to church, they feel judged and condemned and they are so ashamed, and they go to bed in that same consciousness, feeling that they're not good enough, feeling that they're not adequate, feeling that they not deserve to be important people and wealthy people amassing large amounts of wealth, because they believe that they will lose their relationship with the God outside of themselves, with the entity in the sky. And they live their life over and over and over, which is a life of a lie. They live a lie over and over and over. And so Abdullah was breaking Neville out of this lie. So when Abdullah told him that he would have already gone to Barbados, and he couldn't see how it could be done because he had no money. But Abdullah said, live as if you're in Barbados. Go to bed each night as if you're sleeping in your mother's home in Barbados. And when you walk the streets of New York, do not think you're walking the streets of New York. See yourself walking the street of Barbados. And the difference between Barbados and New York is that New York had these high-rise buildings, 10 stories, 20 stories. And Barbados had 2-story and 3-story buildings. I live in the Caribbean here, and I'm telling you, most of the buildings are 2, 3, and 3 stories. But Neville had to live this thing in his imagination because he was practicing alchemy. And that is why when you read about the Christ in the Bible, you're reading of a great alchemist. And that alchemist is a self. Not a man 2,000 years ago. There's not such a man that walked the earth 2,000 years ago with special powers. You're the one who have that special power. It's been given to you. It is your birthright. It's your sovereignty. You have a right to it. Live in your royalty. And that is why when Neville got the letter under his door, and $50 was found in the letter for him to come to Barbados. When he went to the shipping company, they told him that he was going first class. And when he went to Abdullah, thinking that Abdullah would be impressed, Abdullah slammed the door and went into his studies, because Abdullah would have none of it, where he was saying that he's traveling third class. Abdullah said, who told you he was going to Barbados? I told you you went to Barbados and you went first class. That's why we have to be first class thinkers when we practice the art of alchemy in our lives. So we become the alchemists that we are to be. You read the story of Elijah and Elisha and many much more, which I can go into and show you it's all alchemy. Teaching you that you must become the alchemist of your life. You must be the creator, a conscious creator, a deliberate creator. How you can create your reality consciously. All you have to do is look inwardly and realize that it is your thought that is creating your reality. And you must operate in your creativity. You must discover your ability and use it to be of service to humanity. For you are here for a purpose. You are here to display the greatness that is in you. And I'm saying to you, greatness is in you. You have a creative power in you. Use that creative power to achieve your every desire. For the Bible says in St. John 1 and 3 that without him there was not anything made that was made. For all things were made by him. That him is not a man 2,000 years ago, my friends. That him is a personification of your own human imagination, which is the creator in everyone. So get in touch with the creative self. Know what you love. Know what you love to do. And Psalm 4:4 says that you must commune with your own heart upon your bed and go into the stillness, go into meditation. See that which you want to be or do or have. See it in your mind's eye. And fall asleep with a heart of thanksgiving. Go to the end. See it already finished. Also Matthew 6:6 says you must go into the closet, into the secret place where the Father dwells. The Father is your imagination, the creator in everyone. Take your intention there. See it in your mind's eye. He said, don't be like the hypocrites who like to be seen and heard. It is teaching you that praying is not an audible thing. It's not you speaking to a God outside of yourself. But it is you communing with your own heart. Because true prayer is desire and meditation. Because when you have a desire, it's a spiritual sensation. And when you believe it, it's an impregnation. And when you act upon that which you believe, you'll have the manifestation. That's the creative process. That's how we all came into this world also. So my brothers and my sisters, you are to be an alchemist. You are to practice alchemy in your life. You have to take things and transform it. Everything here has been transformed into the form. Out of the formless into the form. Everything came from the invisible to the visible. And you have to learn how to take something from the invisible world and make it visible here. And live the life of an alchemist. And that is what Abdullah was teaching Neville. And that's what I'm teaching you right now. Because it was a time like now. There was a Great Depression. It's a time like now when there's fear all over the world. Where people are so fearful. Where there's so much unemployment taking place. And many people are actually losing their minds. But here was Abdullah teaching Neville the art of alchemy. How he should become an alchemist. How he can create consciously. And that's what I'm doing to you right now. There's no greater message that I can bring to you. This message is greater than what CNN can bring to you. This message is greater than what NBC can bring to you. This message is greater than what the BBC can bring to you. This message is greater than what your pastor can bring to you. Because every religion is reproducing back after their own kind. And all I'm saying to you, that true religion is self-realization. Your real religion is self-realization. Your real salvation is your self-realization. I'm teaching you to look within yourself, to believe in yourself, and to practice the art of alchemy by proving that it is your own thought that is creating your reality. And as long as you feed on the invisible and remain loyal to the invisible or to the unseen, you're operating in faith. That is why you must be consistent. Consistency is the key, and that is why you cannot be anxious. When you write your affirmations and you say your affirmations, when you lie on your back and you go into meditation of that which you want to create in this world, don't go looking for something that you already have. Do not be anxious, but wait, because there's a love gestation. Everything has a time period. And when you relax yourself and you let go and let God, which is the imagination, do the work, then you prove for yourself that you are an alchemist and you're working in the art of alchemy. So with that being said, my brothers and my sisters, I want to thank you very much. I feel so good bringing this message at Abdullah after Neville Goddard, bringing it to the rest of humanity and continuing the work of Abdullah the Black Mystic from Ethiopia, exactly in a time like this, teaching the very same thing. Not just teaching in a way to make money from people and charging people on the internet like many are doing, but helping you to know the source and where it comes from. That's why I always point you to look to the Bible and tell the answers are there. Many people who look like me believe that the Bible is used to brainwash, but they do not believe that if the Bible can be used to enslave you, that the same Bible that is used to enslave you can be used to free you. And that's what I'm doing. Okay? So my brother and my sisters, I'm saying to you, if you listen to me for the very first time on what I'm saying, it is making sense to you, it's resonating with you, then it is for you. And if you haven't subscribed already, I'm encouraging you to subscribe, to like, to comment, or to share this video. But before I end here, I want to let you know that this message I bring to you as usual, it is the single eye, yes, the single eye message of self-realization, of which Matthew 6:22 says, if your eye be single, your whole body will be full of light. And my brother and my sister, hadn't it been that that single eye has awakened within me, and I would have awakened from the dream of life, after having that great earthquake, that great shaking, and I let loose from the base of my spine, after there was a union of two lights, that orange, goldish light and that blue flame, that I can close my eye and even find in my forehead. I can find those two lights in my forehead, and I can teach you how also. Hadn't it been for that union, hadn't it been for that, I wouldn't have been here. For when I had that experience, that's when the eye opened within me, and I ascended up on high, having heard the unearthly wind, and rolled the stone away, and came out of the tomb, and realized it's an empty tomb, and understand that the Bible is my spiritual autobiography. That's why, my brothers and my sisters, I always say to you, do not look at that symbol and the US dollar and believe what they wanted to believe, that it's an evil symbol. No, it is not an evil symbol. That's why I'm not afraid to give anyone this symbol with my hand on my crown chakra, saying to you that you would boss your crown chakra and you will go beyond the brain and realize who you are. Then you will understand why I always give you this symbol and saying to you that when you have the experience, you will come to realize that it is the rising of the S-U-N in a S-O-N, and that it is the dawning of a new day in your life. For the sun parallels the human imagination, and the human imagination parallels the sun. For without the sun there is no life and there is no light, and without the human imagination there is anything made that was made. And you're told that the Lord thy God is a sun and a shield, and no good thing will he withhold from you. In Psalms 84:11, and in Malachi 1:2, you're told that the sun, as in the S-U-N of righteousness, shall arise in you with healing in his wings. And that is why I'm bringing healing to you by saying to you to use your mind power, which is your solar power, your sun power, your creative power, your God power, to achieve your every desire, and practice alchemy in your life and live your life as an alchemist, as Abdullah taught Neville Goddard. So with that being said, I want to say peace, love you all, I'm out.